The Kayfabe Crunch is fed thanks to Uncle Frank's trail mix. Packed with nuts, seeds, candies, and fruit, our trail mix is perfect for leaving a trail so you don't get lost in the forest. Just leave one item from the mix every 10 steps, and the rangers will find you before the monsters do. But whatever you do, don't eat it.
The Kayfabe Crunch, I'm the news, but you already knew that.
Just leaking out of my tubes for 3 days. Good news! This is your Kayfabe Crunch for Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. I'm Cameron Calf Crusher. Coming up, we have all the latest from Full Gear and Raw. Plus, we unearth a piece of retro ASMR content. As it turns out, wrestling legend Macho Man Randy Savage pioneered the genre. But first, in grappling history, in 1997, Eddie Guerrero defeated Rey Mysterio for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. What a legendary wrestler Eddie was. And hopefully his son, Dominic, can follow in his footsteps and win the NXT Cruiserweight title one day. I'm aware of the result of the custody match back in 2005, but that was about who got to keep Dominic, not who sired him. So it's Uncle Ray and Daddy Eddie. And in 2010, Kevin Nash resigns with TN. Hang on, is that resigns or resigns? Because those are two extremely different things. Let me just have a check. Okay, so WrestlingHistoryHellYeah.com says he re-signed a contract but left before making any sort of appearance. So he resigned. He re-signed and then he resigned. Okay, that clears that up. Thanks for choosing this ridiculous podcast. It may be that it's sillier than R-Truth, but it's also more fact-based than Chris Jericho's political opinions. And now, let's get on with the fantastic filler news. Top story. Next week. Something will happen next week. They say that people will never find out that you're treading water if you cloud the river with a dirty protest. Now, I don't know who they are, but I am all too familiar with the warm sensation generated by leaking out of your back pipe while standing in a public waterway. Look, this week's top story didn't really go anywhere. I suppose it was centered around a 6-man tag match between McIntyre, New Day, Orton, Miz, and Morrison. The sort of bout you'd pawn off on a live event, but they aren't happening right now because we're all dying. Towards the end of the night, Adam Pearce made the controversial decision to have Randy Orton defend his WWE Championship next week against McIntyre, which is obviously huge, but that's next week. That's sort of it for today's news. I often see so-called smart fans online talk about filler matches, and usually it's just a blatant lack of respect for the athletes of our sport. But on this one occasion, I'm tempted to draw from their self-perceived wisdom and say, this episode of Raw was filler. Now, we've been covering Raw in podcast form for nearly a year now, and we've got to say, and it's difficult to admit, this is the first filler episode. I know, seems unlikely, but it's true. So yeah, please keep listening. The fast count has a couple of good lines I'm excited for you to hear. And I know you're all at least a little bit curious about the whole Macho Man ASMR thing. Oh yeah, Sheamus and McIntyre had a wholesome backstage moment where they promised to celebrate together. when Drew becomes champ again. Which absolutely won't end with Sheamus smashing a keg over Drew, no sir. And now it's time for your fast count, the tiny trash can of news.
MJF has joined the inner circle. Sources say Wardlow and Hager will now form a hard outer circle to protect the soft and gooey center on the inside.
R-Truth defends his 24/7 title in a 7-way match. The championship changed hands a total of 9 times in this bout, in the hope that someone will care.
Retribution declares war against robot community.
And we will not rest until we shut you down.
Darby Allin becomes TNT champion. He had planned to celebrate by throwing himself onto sharp rocks. So Darby would like to extend a thank you to Team Taz for saving him a trip to the beach.
Drew Gulak wants to join the Hurt Business. MVP pointed out the obvious difference between his team and Gulak. Gulak wears cheap suits.
Angel Garza says he's fighting for every woman in the world. There are 3.5 billion, so you best get started, mate.
Announce tables are suffering, and you can help them. For just $9.99 per month, you can donate to help tables recover from projectile llanas.
Riddle wins a last chance qualifier to join Team Raw at Survivor Series. He's also annoyed by the actions of Captain AJ, but says if he gets too annoying, he'll just take out a restraining order. Oh, and his name is now simply Riddle, so yeah. And that's your fast count.
You've been counted out. Wheeler of garbage. Yes.
Historians have found that pro wrestling has been highly influential on a modern medium, and a lot more than its practitioners might think. A long-lost tape of Macho Man Randy Savage has been making its way around the ASMR community. For those who might not know, ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, and it's basically just creepy whispers and that. But it's also considered to be relaxing. Anyway, we thought it might be a good idea during this highly stressful year to play you just a sample of the full 2-hour tape. So sit back, relax, pop on some headphones if you can, and enjoy this excerpt from Macho Man Randy Savage orders pizza for his nephew's birthday party, recorded live at a local pizza parlor in 1989.
Hey there. I'm here to chaperone my nephew's pizza party. Oh yeah, see, it's his birthday. And those little vanilla midgets over there on that table, they think they're getting a couple of pizzas for the table. Maybe a slice or two each, but what they don't know is that Macho Man's covering the bill. Oh yeah, so I've got the order here, and Macho Man's gonna give it to you, real discreet. Now we all know that Macho Man's the best of the best, and I could eat 20 pizzas by myself in front of Hulk Hogan and thousands of screaming fans, but these little vanilla midgets, they're gonna need one personal pizza each, or their tiny bellies will explode. Oh yeah. So on this first pizza, I'd like that with extra cheese. In fact, make those first 4 pizzas with extra cheese. On this next pizza, I'm gonna need you to bake some Slim Jims right into the crust. Oh yeah. On the next order, I'm gonna need you to just lather that marinara all over a thin crust. Oh yeah, I'll take you down to Pizza Town and show you a good time. Oh yeah. Now this next pizza is for my nephew, and it's his birthday, remember? So this is the most important one. Oh yeah. Now he wants a different topping on each slice of pizza. Don't judge him, it's just how he rolls. Now he's allergic to anchovies, but don't tell his friends, because he's ashamed of it. My nephew's best friend hates this place. He prefers to go to Pizza Hut, but I convinced him to shop local. Oh yeah. Do you put bacon on the pizzas, or is that just at the Hut? Now, for the next 2 pizzas, I need you to put bacon on those. Just lather them up with the pig. You understand? Now, those last 4 pizzas, you can put whatever you want on those, as long as they got the creamy cheese that you guys do here so well, 'cause you know we love the cream here in the Macho Man family. Now, did you get all of that down, or do you need me to repeat myself on any of those orders? Oh yeah. 'Cause if not, then I'm gonna go get back to chaperoning my little nephew's pizza party. I'm so proud of that little guy. Oh yeah.
And there's just time to ask Stephen, our resident prediction crustacean, which brand he thinks will win at Survivor Series. So I've got his little tank right here on the desk, and he's going to shimmy either to the left or the right for Raw and SmackDown, respectively. Off you go, Stephen. Oh, that's a cute little scuttle. Not really considered a cute animal is the crab, but they really are if you ignore the whole facial nightmare that's going on sort of below the eyes. He's fiery today, must be really necking that krill. Oh, that's very interesting. He's actually moved to the back of his tank and has hidden behind a medium-sized conch, which, according to our handy crab prediction infographic, means... Wow, 205 Live will win Survivor Series this year. Seems highly unlikely, but crabs famously never lie. So, Mansur as the sole survivor, I reckon. This is also a nice reminder that 205 Live is a show that exists. Thank you, Stephen. Join us Saturday when we'll ask, why is Lars Sullivan? And remember, you can support this podcast by recommending an episode to a fellow wrestling fan. Go on, send them a link right now, and then when they reach this part of the podcast, they'll send a link to another fan, and then another fan, and we all grow. Yeah, sorry, I was just waiting for you to send that link. I won't wrap up the podcast until, you know, you've done that. No, I don't mind waiting, honestly. Okay, thanks so much. This has been the Kayfabe Crunch, your not quite daily, not quite news bump for the world of professional wrestling.
The Kayfabe Crunch is fed thanks to Uncle Frank's trail mix. It's not your mama's trail mix, it's your uncle's trail mix. We just said. We only include the sharpest nuts in our mix. If you come face to face with a 600-pound grizzly, simply hoof an almond right in its eye. You'll be safe and home in no time. Unless you miss.
The Kayfabe Crunch.